The Bernette Funlock b42 cover stitch and chain stitch machine is a standalone machine that only does 4 stitches. And you say, why would I want a machine that only does 4 stitches? Well, it does those 4 stitches really, really well. So your choice, you can actually have all 3 needles and a looper thread. That's why we have 4 threads on the machine right now. You can do 2 needles, which could make a narrow version of a cover stitch or a wide version. And you can also do 1 needle when you just want a chain stitch. Now, there's a page of the manual that actually identifies when to use each of these particular stitches. And then also when the most important thing is which of the needles do you actually use for the exact stitches. Like, I always forget which needle I'm supposed to use for a chain stitch. And I'm reminded for a 2-thread chain stitch, we're using the center needle. So it means that we are going to take out 2 needles, the left and the right, leaving the center. If you're doing the 3-thread cover stitch narrow, we're using the needles that are the yellow and green. So we do take out the blue needle and remove that thread. So again, I always forget, is it these 2 needles or these 2 needles? So just until you use them enough, do you realize which ones you'll actually be using? But it is true, you do need to use these 2 for a narrow cover stitch. And of course the wide one, obviously we'll take out that center needle. So why do we actually take the needles out? The key is because we don't want to leave little holes in the fabric, especially if it's a delicate fabric or a lycra. You're not adding an extra hole and breaking those fibers at all or weakening them. But what I'm going to do is run a stitch of each of these different stitches so we can see the difference. So I'm going to start with our 3 needle 4-thread cover stitch and stitch it along the fabric. Again, this is a great stitch suitable for very stretchy fabrics, or it could be used decoratively. At the end, bring the needles up, lift up the presser foot, take something sharp, I use my scissors, and swipe underneath the foot and between the fabric and clip the threads. Pull it straight out and that has been locked. So a 3 needle cover stitch looks just like this on the back and 3 rows of stitches on the front. So you could actually have this be the side that is actually visible. So depending on what side you're doing, make sure that that fabric side is up when you stitch.